What's up, everybody? It's Christy, your favorite fitness and nutrition coach here. Today, I'm going to walk you through how to enter a recipe into MyFitnessPal while your recipe cooks. So I just put in some chicken in the Instant Pot. I'm going to make some sides, and I'm going to put it all together in a bowl for my lunches for the week. So the question is, well, how do I log that? How do I create a recipe and all that stuff? So MyFitnessPal, we're going to go in to my recipes, my meals, recipes, and foods. There you're gonna see a blue line that says create a recipe. So we're gonna click that, create a recipe. It gives you two options. We're gonna click enter ingredients manually. From there, you have to give it a title. So we're gonna call this Buffalo Chicken. Buffalo Chicken Bowl. Buffalo Chicken Bowl servings. So I'm not really sure how many servings it's going to yield just yet. It'll depend on how the macros work out once I enter all the ingredients. The cool thing is you can go back in and edit. So I'm gonna type in 6 and we'll see how that divides out. Okay, now it's taking you to the add ingredient page. Click add ingredient. So I'm gonna start with boneless, skinless chicken breast. And then I'm gonna click search. And the options that pop up. So I always double check the options that it gives you. Some of them are inaccurate. Make sure you double check the label. My label is in the trash can covered in chicken juice, so I'm not gonna pull it out, but I do know that 4 ounces of chicken is 110 calories, 23 grams of protein, 2.5 fat, and no carbs. So now that's for 4 ounces. I have 4 pounds of chicken in here. So pull out your handy dandy calculator. So 16 ounces is a pound times 4, 64. So I need 16 of the 4 ounce servings. So just run the math and make sure that you're entering the proper amount of servings. So 16 times 4 is 64. That's how many ounces of chicken I have in there. Okay, from there, I put a cup of Greek yogurt in the Instant Pot to help with kind of the creaminess of the chicken all said and done. So since I have the label, I can scan it. And then the serving size, this says 6 ounces. I only used a cup, so I used, it's 4 ounces in a cup, I think. And then this is a big question. So things like this, hot sauce, I typically don't log it because there's 0 fat, 0 carbs, and 0 protein. It's just spices and spices. So I'm not gonna log that. Same thing with this. A ranch packet, there's nothing in here. It's just seasonings. So you don't have to log your seasonings and spices if there's nothing to it. Now, if I was using a teriyaki, a honey-based, any sort of marinade like that that has a lot of carbohydrates and sugars in it, you do want to log those. So just peek at the label real quick. This is all zeros, nothing to log there, nothing to see here. Now, if this was ranch dressing that I was pouring in there, for sure you gotta log it. Ranch seasoning, you do not. Okay? So ingredients there, chicken, some yogurt, hot sauce. Now I have these potatoes that I'm going to use as the base. And since it's part of the recipe, I'm just gonna weigh it out and see how many portions I could equally make with this. So I've already washed my potatoes. I'm going to zero out my scale and I have my bowl on there. I'm gonna pour these potatoes in and get a raw weight. Okay, so I have 960 grams of those potatoes. So I'm gonna add ingredient. I know these are called baby creamer potatoes. So I'm gonna type that in the search bar. All right, tasteful selections. 110 grams is the serving for 19 carbs. That is correct. And I have 960. So I need to take 960 and divide that by 110 to see how many servings I'm doing. 8.7 servings. Okay, so number of servings, 8 3/4. Okay, so far, now I can see I have the chicken, I have the marinade, or the yogurt I should say, and the potatoes. Now for 6 servings, it's gonna automatically run the math, so I hit the arrow over. And if I just left it as is for 6 servings, it would be, holy moly, 68 grams of protein, 30 grams of carbs, and 7 fat. So obviously I don't need 70 grams of protein per serving. So then I can adjust this serving size. And let's say I change it to 12. Oh, that's beautiful. So now 12 servings with all the chicken that's in there. There's a lot of chicken in there, 4 pounds. So I just doubled the amount of portions and it gives me 34 grams of protein, 15 carbs, and 3 fat. So obviously the carbs are low, but that's okay. So if I were to turn these potatoes into 12 portions, not a ton of carbs, but I have all my vegetables. So I can add a big serving of vegetables. I could add a portion of fruit to the side of that and have a really, really balanced meal. My greens on the side. So I'll just log those individually. So I'll just weigh out like 50 to 100 grams of vegetables and throw them in each portion. And then I can just tag that on in my logs. But as far as like the recipe components, it's so simple. You literally scan your stuff, figure out how much, the grams. I always recommend weighing it all out, type in the grams, and then play around with the portion sizes to get the macros that you want per meal. You want in that like 20 to 35 grams of protein, same with the carbs, and then about half the grams of protein and fat. So if your fat content is like 30 grams and your protein's only like 12, you know that you need to cut some fat out of that recipe. So logging recipe, super duper simple. And then I can click save. And then now it's right there in my recipes, 216 calories. So when I go to eat that meal, bang, I just click it. Now the next question is gonna be, well, how do I know how to portion it and blah, 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 blah. So since the cooked weight changes after it's all said and done, we've logged it raw. So what you wanna do is zero out the scale, put the bucket of chicken once you've like drained all the extra juices out, get the total volume weight. And since we're using 12 servings, you're just gonna take that total volume and divide it by 12. So let's say it's 86. So you know that the portion of chicken to make 1/12 is 86 grams. So you put your Tupperwares on the scale, plop out 86 grams in each container, each of your 12, 6 for your husband, 6 for your wife, whatever. And then you have your equal portions. Same thing for the potatoes. I'm gonna throw this in the microwave with some seasoning salt, click the potato button and let them do their thing. And then when I reweigh them, they're probably gonna be less than 960 grams. So I can just take whatever that new weight is, divide it by 12, and now I have my portion size for the potatoes as well. And then I'll just, like I said, steam the whole thing of vegetables and then 50 grams in each, and that's it. Super simple, play around with it. The more you do it, the faster you get, the more it makes sense. Little things like how many ounces in a pound, how many ounces in a cup, like you start to figure that out and you learn it. It's just like being back at school. This is macro school. So I even forgot how many ounces were in a cup for a second and I'm still like second guessing myself. So hopefully that makes sense on how to log a recipe. If you have any more questions on this, shoot them over.